I just had wild, crazy, intense makeup sex. Do you know it? You know the kind? You've just fought, your partner says some things that they've been holding back. So did you. Through all that, you find your way back to each other again, and boom, big explosion. And in bed afterwards, you turn to each other and say, "What just happened?" And you wonder why you're not doing that all the time. Why is it that after a blowout, things get steamy? One quote says, "Truth is like poetry, and everyone freaking hates poetry." But if people hate poetry, what they hate even more is speaking their own poetry live. It's terrifying. So few of us even try. I've been thinking about going to an open mic for years, but I'm still scared. I think I have a theory about makeup sex and why it's so hot and how to help sex be that hot all the time. You see, most of the time we're just living a peaceful life with our partners, not rocking the boat, letting little things slip, letting our dreams die with each passing day just a bit. But the erotic never sleeps. We have dreams, desires, fantasies. We think about things and people that we shouldn't. And that begins to gather, forming a beaver's dam of hidden desires, thoughts, and wishes. And then one day, it can't be held back anymore. It all comes rushing out, and the energy which was blocked behind each unsaid truth is released as well. Energy of pleasure, restrained by our desire to be accepted, to be loved, to fit in. I get it. I want to be loved as much as the next person. I've frozen when she asks, "Does my butt look big in these pants?" Unsure how to answer. But the pleasure and intimacy in our lives is hidden beneath the things we aren't saying. What is it we would say or do if we had total freedom, if we could say or do anything? Where do our minds go when we allow them? And what would happen if we let go, risked, and spoke our truth? Happiness and pleasure are connected deeply to truth. Why? Good question. Truth is knowledge of things as they are. If you believe stepping off a cliff is safe, that's not the truth. Our lives and their results are based upon the truth we decide to follow or not. And not just our external results. In fact, external results may vary. Internal results are most importantly connected to our truth. Even our happiness. We are all living in cages. These cages consist of the lies we've been told, lies we tell others, lies we tell ourselves. Not only are we living in these cages, but almost all of us are frantically at work, most all of every day, welding and making these cages even more secure. Why? Fear mostly. And silence in a cage seems the best, most effective, and most energy-saving method of meeting our needs sometimes. Just like sitting on the couch eating potato chips and watching TV seems like the best investment of our time sometimes. Except while we build these cages, we can be frantically busy or seem to be expending tremendous effort. Looks can be deceiving. If we want to understand things as they are, it's a little harder than that. The more truth I have found about any important topic, the more I've been surprised to hear that the truth was common, not usually very difficult to find, but was ignored or misinterpreted by the vast majority of people. Instead, the lies that build our cages are propagated at tremendous cost and effort, subsidized by us. We get so used to them that we've long ago forgotten that they were lies in the first place. I just watched The Big Short. It's a good movie, and basically one guy on the spectrum saw that the whole economy was about to melt down in 2006 and was able to profit from it quite handsomely, while many others saw nothing amiss. After he found the truth and made his money, he suggested that ideas be implemented to prevent something like this in the future. He was attacked via audits and other means by the very people in government he was trying to help. That's kind of how it goes. The lie is halfway around the world before truth has even got its shoes on, as the quote goes. Another great quote: "Why am I talking about truth in a course about pleasure? Because if you're going to engage with others in pursuit of pleasure, you're going to have to choose how you do so. You can do so via truth or other means. And you probably want people to engage with you via truth as well. Better said, I'm going to suggest that most dead marriages, unsatisfying one-night stands, empty erotic releases, unsatisfactory sessions, and boring sexual experiences probably stem from a lack of truth. Even more from a lack of honesty, which is truth expressed. And if you want to know exactly what we're talking about, from a lack of authenticity, vulnerability, and transparency. I spent enough money for a college education on my sexual and relational development before I really heard any of these words deeply defined or spoken of as keys to pleasure. In fact, I still have never read a book or gone to a course that adequately accentuates the importance of these things in the path of erotic pleasure. Vulnerability is scary. Transparency is risky. Authenticity is often shunned. These are the big tools that allow us to do so much, but they're frightening to use. Behind that fear, tremendous energy for pleasure is stored. Allow me to define each briefly so that you know what I'm talking about. Transparency is revealing things that impact your partner, being open and honest about those things. For example, do you have any STDs? Are you in a relationship with someone else? Do you have children? Do you want children? Volunteering these kind of things before they're asked and before you engage deeply with someone can help both of you make the best decisions about how to interact, regardless of how you choose to do so. Who would have thought that pleasure is tied to virtues, but surprisingly it is. Authenticity, expressing your true feelings and needs with someone. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you looking for a one-night stand or a long-term relationship? How do you feel during your time in interactions? Some things you honestly feel you may fear may hurt the other person's feelings. Are you willing to say them anyway? Can you avoid duplicity or acting just because that might seem the quickest path to the result you desire? And vulnerability, being transparent and authentic at the risk of being rejected or hurt. This one might be the hardest one. Brené Brown has made a career of speaking deeply on this oft ignored facet of human interaction. If you engage deeply with someone and asking them to meet your needs, being clear in your feelings, there's some risk that they will ignore or even attack you based upon your feelings or act in a way that makes the desire and need worse and not better. Someone saying no to your desire for interaction may seem to close the door to future interactions, making the pain of lack and scarcity even worse than before, especially if we do have those scarcity beliefs about getting our needs met. To ask to have our needs met is to be open to the possibility of greater pain. It just is. Vulnerability requires courage. And many of my most pleasurable experiences were the result of me being vulnerable and asking for my needs to be met, sometimes over and over, in various ways with various people, and learning to deal with rejection, disappointment, and being misunderstood. Do these make sense? Do you understand all three of them, transparency, authenticity, and vulnerability, a little better, and their connection to honesty and truth, and how that all works together to help you have more pleasure? I hope so. This is a continual journey, but knowing these exist and implementing them in your relating, even with yourself, can have dramatic effects to multiply your pleasure. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and join in the link in the comments below to get more regularly. This has been Ryan Orok. Thank you.